Hello everybody, it's Nick Dutch here. Yes, your favorite reptilian, alien, overlord, Illuminati scumbag from hell who's come to depopulate the planet on behalf of Lord Satan. Yeah, yeah, that's me. Right, okay. Right, well now you know who you're talking to. I've been asked for my opinion on the subject of David Icke. Now, I talk to a fair few people on the internet, and they've all looked at the subject of David Icke from very different points of view. So I'm not saying this to butter up or sweeten any particular group of individuals. I'm just telling you what I personally think, which basically means that some of you people out there are going to like me for it, some of you are going to hate me for it, some of you are going to think like, okay, I like him, but like his views on David Icke are a bit iffy and all that kind of jazz. I mean, the bottom line is, I have a bit of a I have a bittersweet relationship with the ideas that have come out of his kind of like stable. And he's been a bit of a variable character. Remember, this is the guy who thought he was Jesus Christ. Okay, he actually thought that. This is the guy who made a claim that he was taken up into a UFO. You know, this is not necessarily the kind of person who I personally would want to chill out with a nice cup of tea. You know, this is not the kind of person whose views and alleged personal experiences I can relate to. And of course, the movement in the, sort of like the latter part of his career towards the conspiracy theory genre kind of like makes me a bit sour in the mouth, to be honest. Now, does he actually have his heart in the right place? Well, I think we all have our heart in the right place to a certain extent. Even fucking Adolf Hitler had his heart in the right place to a certain extent, although, of course, his heart was twisted as a corkscrew. Alright, so we all think that we're right in one form or another, but some people, they think that they're right for money. Okay? Of course, this is one way in which I'm a little different, because your typical person who works as a professional tarot reader would just carry on saying, "Oh, this stuff is real. All this stuff is real. Yeah, the angels are really there, and oh, I really believe," and all that fucking stuff. And I am a professional tarot reader, and I'm trying to sow seeds of doubt into the minds of people, because I personally think that's a little healthier, as well as to have a curiosity for the experiences. Okay, but David Icke, I don't sense the energy of doubt associated with him. That's not the kind of thing he wants to try and generate in people. He wants to try and generate a certain level of acceptance that what he says is the crystal clear 110% truth, which in any subject, okay, any subject is difficult if not bad. Alright, difficult or bad, those are the only, options the way I can see it. Now, maybe in some respects he's got a point. Okay, he's taught some people how to look at life from a different point of view, which can be good. That is constructive. Alright, it's always good to have a different point of view. But going on about saying that like the moon is hollow and is like planetoid and all that stuff, and we're all being controlled by a telepathic matrix. I mean, and he uses like the stuff from a fiction movie, and not a very good fiction movie, namely The Matrix, as part of his explanation of what he thinks is real. But like the Matrix, and I'm sorry to say this for those of you people out there who like the movie. Okay, I like it, but I know what it is. Okay, it's a bad traditional, old-fashioned supernatural martial arts movie that uses technology as the explanation and justification for the magic within the movie, okay, within the fictional world, within the universe of like Matrix ideas. All right, but that's all it is. I mean, you could see that Jackie Chan from the '80s could have been doing that kind of stuff, just but without as much in the way of cool CG. It was well done, but it was basically a crap movie, okay, and a fiction movie at that. So I don't think we can necessarily say that, either the Illuminati is trying to teach us something or they're leaving something in plain sight. or whatever, or just trying to make it seem really, really difficult when someone comes out with a transcendental concept and someone else would then criticize them, oh, you just saw that in the movies, therefore, like, you're crap. But basically it's true, which is the kind of thing that Alex Jones, who happens to be the bum chum of David Icke, or has been for a while, Alex Jones might say that kind of thing. I see him as a very clever individual. I see him as someone who has found a niche market and he has found a way of making a living from it. I don't see him as an ethical individual because he's going around telling people not to take vaccines, and there's nothing wrong with vaccines, and in fact they are actually very good for you and for the rest of humanity, actually. I think he's quite a scary individual. Very charismatic, very convincing. I think he's very good at looking as though he knows what he's talking about. And that's a skill. But I get a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth when I think about David Icke. I think sure, if anyone can use his writings or whatever to think in a different way about stuff, then that's good. But it can take you down the wrong path. Maybe there is some spiritual truth to some of the things he's saying, but not that I am, for instance, a reptilian alien from another world. I'm not. Sorry. Well, not much anyway. So, I'm rather grey about him, okay? If you find some good in what he's said and what he's done, fine. That's okay. But I think that there's a lot more dangerous stuff there. And a lot of his speeches and presentations, because it connects with the conspiracy theory type mindset, appears to be doing something a little dangerous, which is to kind of radicalize people towards something that won't necessarily be all that good. Alright, I think some people who may be a little weakened in some respects, or lack a certain clarity of thought, or lack a certain quantity of skepticism, might end up being pulled in to what he's talking about and do something inappropriate. And I think in that particular respect he's just as dangerous as Alex Jones in some of the more difficult areas of the alternative media. Alternative as in doesn't necessarily help people to think about real issues that are actually going on in the world and might actually be doing people some harm at times. Not always, but at times, okay? It's good to have different points of view, yes. Freedom of speech, wonderful thing. But sometimes freedom of speech can have its problems because it exposes too many people to too many ideas, some of which, because of the nature of their freedom, can in fact be a bit difficult. Alright? So, all forms of ideology, including democracy, have some problems. And in order to actually be a proper democratic individual, you've not only got to understand all these other points of view, but also know how to be a person who can think to be able to criticize the ideas that you yourself have. Which most people just, struggle over. The Bible actually tells us that, it says in the book of Proverbs, every man is right in his own eyes. Which I think is a very telling and very wise statement, because everyone's right in their own eyes, not necessarily in the outer world, but in their own eyes. And I think that David Icke is someone who wants people to think that they're right because they think the way that he does. And to have any individual, no matter how charismatic, no matter what they think, being put that far on a pedestal, especially when there's some kind of extra moral or spiritual aspects to it, in which he could say, yeah, I really am, Jesus, or I really did come down out of a UFO, or I really am fighting the grey reptilian aliens who are controlling us via the telepathic field from the hollowed out moon, which is actually a UFO planetoid which is just in our orbit, and we're all being screened away from the evils of some, clarity of thought, and we're all basically in a three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional prison of stuff. I mean, all this is really intoxicating ideas. But do you want to have intoxicating ideas if you want to be someone who's got clarity of thought? No. I mean, yeah, he could be doing, if you get something good from him, fine. But if you get, yeah, but some of it is like, his own mind trick. And I think that there's a lot of mind tricks out there in the world. And I try my hardest to, try not to be as bad as a lot of the other people out there. I mean, I've been given some power purely because of being on the internet. People watch my stuff. Okay, they converse with me, they get involved with me. Okay, that means I've got some power, and I have to check my words. I got to be careful about what I say to people. All right, I got to try and make sure people do not get me wrong. Because there's like whenever you use words, there's morality to it. And there are people like David Icke who don't think about necessarily that there may be another moral dimension to what they're doing. And so it's difficult. All right? And I think that he doesn't think enough about the morality of what he says. And I think he's like, started to make some money out of it, so now he's looking at the dollar signs and all that kind of stuff. And I was having a conversation with another guy here on the internet, and he says that, no matter what, and when you speak to or read about any form of spiritual person, there's always a key singular supernatural experience, a spiritual experience or whatever, which takes them on their journey. Yeah, maybe. And also some people might make shit up because they know that that's the way that they can try and communicate the idea to other people that they, as in the person who's doing the speaking, is like the powerful, superior person with superior wisdom. Now, I think I've seen people set up scam videos on YouTube years ago. And they all made shit up about a spiritual experience which happened. There are people who set up various cults out there. All right, and one of them said, what the hell? I can't remember which cult it was, but this guy said that like there was a spirit that possessed him when he was in an airplane, or something equally fucking mental, They all say that. All right, they all say that. Doesn't mean to say it's true. But that's the formula for someone who wants to set themselves up as a cult leader. Okay? They say that shit. Now, I know full well from my personal experience that anyone can have proper spiritual religious experience or ghost experiences and the rest of it. Yeah, fine. Doesn't mean to say I'm the son of God. Doesn't mean to say I'm a new Messiah. Doesn't mean to say I'm some sort of like, high powerful magician. Yes, everyone must like bow and worship of Nick Dutch because he's so fucking amazing. No. But what it does mean is that whatever it is, it's very common and it's there for everyone. Okay? It's not a question of, you got to believe that like the moon's a fucking UFO. Or that there are reptiles in human form walking around the planet and they got some kind of like magic watch when they press a button and they turn back into a lizard and they turn straight back into a human and they're in the White House and they rule us, yes. And then of course there's the blue aliens and they live under the sands of the desert, yes. Fuck off. Struth. I know I'm just rambling and ranting, but I enjoy rambling and ranting. It's good fun. Anyway. Speak to you soon. Keep tuned. Keep cool. Keep rational. Don't know what that's got to do with rationality, though. Yeah, what the fuck.